surprising that most of the African leaders who were post-independence were overthrown. And if you just Google how many interventions the CIA had in Africa, you will know what they are. How many interventions? The French have intervened 69 times, overthrowing governments in Africa. That's why I was telling you I don't agree with Pierre Lumumba. Because the African leaders wanted to see something, but they could not see it. So you don't blame them for the things that you are seeing today.
That's the his fun.
No, he will stop being his fun at some stage. When he realizes that Lumumba is criticizing African leaders unduly. You cannot blame Seven.
Professor, we shall debate another day.
Yes, you cannot blame Seven. You cannot blame Uhuru Kenyatta. Because they have very little control over the economics of the country. Very little control. Fast forward, Museveni comes up in 1986, 10-point program. Point number 9, start parastatals. What happened? The war in the north. Nobody is going to tell you this. The war in the north was crucifying Museveni. And a year later, go to history, May 1987, he himself read the recommendations changing the policies, abandoning state participation in the economy.
That was in
The same problem.
1987.
1987, May 1987, he read the recommendations himself. We must move away from...
He was around also. Being around.
Let me take you back to 1966. 1966, the struggle between Obote and Kabaka was still an ideological struggle, but this time the Kabaka wanted the dominance. Since he was Kabaka and president, wanted to be above the prime minister, and that could not last. Now, 1967, Nyerere announces the Arusha Declaration, moving the country to the left. Obote felt he could not be left behind. 1969, he announces it.
Uganda moves to the left.
Yes. 1971, Obote is overthrown. For that reason, you go and read an Idi Amin declaration. He says the reason we're overthrowing Obote is because he was nationalizing companies. Nothing else. And if you go to read when Obote was in Singapore at that time, what he was talking about in terms of the movement in South Africa to end apartheid, he had to go.
How did Nyerere survive this time?
Nyerere survived because the Nordic countries embraced him and supported him. Now, there are different levels of capitalism. The Swedish model, those Nordic countries, their model of capitalism is different. So they embraced Nyerere. And Nyerere survives because Idi Amin takes over this country. So while the British thought he's going to be on their side, he went against them.
Eventually.
Yeah, they had to find somebody, an ally, because Kenya is taken for granted, that is their country.
Forever.
Yeah. So Nyerere survives. I wrote an article about Tanzania, I think in 1991. I think I still have that article about what was happening in Tanzania. It was too good what was happening in Tanzania. But they cannot allow you to win. Once you lock out the Pepsi Colas and the Coca-Colas, they don't allow you to win. India locked out Coca-Cola in 1975. And you should know what they did to India. until it had to accept. They came up with wonderful products because India has capacity. But until when they opened up Coca-Cola and some other multinational companies, India forever was destined to fail as a country. And India is a powerful country. Amin comes in, there are no issues of ideology. To it, Amin, he had that good intention of seeing Africans succeed, but he didn't know how. And then he had been sanctioned by the West. What helped Idi Amin to stay longer in power were the coffee prices. There was a frost in Brazil for several years. So the coffee in Uganda, you could even export it by plane because the demand was too much. So Idi Amin didn't need the taxes because he could collect money from coffee. But it was inevitable that he had to leave. Once he started talking about the Queen and all this stuff. So, 79, 81, Obote abandoned socialism. The recovery program, 1981, talks about accepting the private sector to be the country to lead growth.
Professor, was the Ujamaa policy part of the whole socialism? Yes.
Yeah, Ujamaa is socialism of a Tanzanian mix.
Yeah.
Tanzanian, unique Tanzania. And Tanzania achieved a great deal. First of all, until recently, the Tanzanians have some degree of unity you will not find among us.
That is true.
They speak Swahili, one language. They have their own Lusoga and Uganda and whatever it is. But the Tanzanians will just speak Swahili just like that because of Nyerere. The Tanzanian economy is struggling to move to capitalism because the orientation, the ideological orientation by Nyerere in Tanzania was that let's be socialist. So governance issues is what is the level of participation of the state and what is the level of participation of the private sector. Capitalism is wonderful. Everything you see today, the plane that you see, these cameras that you see are a result of capitalism. But it has a problem. It creates a huge underclass. Be it in Britain, be it in the United States, wherever it is, except in Europe. The European countries have moderated their capitalism, that they have not created the underclass you will find in the UK and in the US. The Japanese capitalism is a different kind. So you as young political people, you need to understand the different political systems and ideologies of these different countries. So that possibly you decide on what you think is ideal for this country. The current capitalism that you are seeing today will not transform this country. In the next 10 years, if we continue the way we are continuing, you are going to have the biggest underclass you've ever seen in this country. Every town will be slums. So ideology is how to govern ourselves. That governing ourselves is what is the role of the state. What's the role of the state? If the state does not go ahead to improve the lives of the millions of people in this country, we shall not remove poverty. And personally, the state is putting money in the wrong places. They are bringing money, money on what? Models, whatever it is.
Paris development model.
I'm sure. These are my personal views.
And
I would put money in education. We have two problems: lack of income and a growing population. Where is the growing population coming from? Girls getting pregnant and even getting married formally at age 14. By the time the girl is 28 years old, she has a daughter who has a child.